Hi guys. Now, I realize I may be about a month late in talking about the topics that I want to talk about today. But I still want to talk about them because they're pretty chaotic and I like discussing chaotic topics within K-pop, as you may or may not know. One of the biggest shakeups that have happened within the K-pop industry this year so far, one of Enhypen's key members, Heeseung, leaving the group. This news has shooketh the K-pop community as a whole because it seemingly came out of nowhere and people really saw no reason as to why he would leave. I mean, the group just dropped an album and then he suddenly announced that he was no longer going to be a part of the group, which does seem odd in terms of timing. But nevertheless, the company released a statement saying that Heeseung wanted to pursue a solo career. At least that was the official reason given as to why he was going to leave the group. Also, bear in mind that he will be staying within the same label, so he will be still working at the same company as his former bandmates.
Why'd he leave? No! He was my favorite!
I think this really just goes to show how sudden this was, as other K-pop idols were finding out about it during their live streams, and the fans were outraged. They did what usually K-pop fans do. They made many petitions arguing that he should stay in the group. They even sent these massive trucks to sit outside of the company, protesting against his departure and saying he should stay with Enhypen. A lot of fans were speculating online about why he really left, because to them it was just too sus that he left as suddenly as he did.
The concept of someone leaving the group to go solo is the most normal thing in the world. That's not fucking normal in K-pop. The boy bands and girl groups that you're thinking of come from societies that are individualistic.
Yeah, she makes a really good point, actually, that within the K-pop industry, it's not really normal for a singular one member to leave a group suddenly to pursue a solo career. Korea in general is not really an individualistic society. And so within the K-pop industry, a lot of groups will usually make decisions based upon what is best for the group as a whole.
Korea is not that in the slightest. Everything is for the betterment of the group. In K-pop, when someone wants to have a solo career, they do a solo comeback while staying in the group. BTS did it. Literally every single member in most K-pop groups have at least a solo song or...
Yeah, I'm really glad that she brought up the BTS thing as an example, actually, because in one of their most recent interviews, they were asked the question, during your solo projects, did any of you ever consider maybe it was better for you to pursue a solo career and leave the group? To which one of the members, I believe it was V, responded, if anyone was that shameless, I would smack them. So that just goes to show how it's really not common at all within Korea to think of yourself. It's much more common to think of what benefits the group as a whole and not just what you want to do. And so you go into the comments on this creator's video. Somebody had commented, mind you, it's even weirder that he's staying in the company, which, yeah, 100%. It's really strange that he wanted to pursue a solo career in music, but chose to stay under the same label that his group is still in. Usually the reason given for wanting to pursue a solo career is you are growing in a different artistic direction than your group is growing in. And so I do think it's weird that he would stay under the same label, which is going to have the same music producers and all of the same artistic direction that he was already under. Does that make sense? I feel like if you wanted to pursue a solo career and grow in a different direction musically, then staying with the same label is just a very, very weird thing to do. The other comment on this video that I wanted to point out was the one that says they have upcoming shows and schedules that had already been planned, because that shows again how sudden this decision was. It just seems really odd because they'd already planned everything. The company have had to like postpone a lot of stuff because he'll no longer be a part of it. It seems in that case that the decision just came completely out of the blue because even the company obviously weren't prepared for it. So it's just odd. It's just very odd. Now, I wouldn't consider myself a fan of Enhypen by any means, but I do really sympathize with the fans because this would be like if Jungkook left BTS. I feel like losing any member of a group is honestly a big hit. Excuse the pun. It came as a big shock to me. And so, yeah, my heart goes out to the fans. I did see a lot of people trying to make light of the situation with posts like, posts such as this. My heart goes out to you if you're a fan of Enhypen. And I do personally think that his departure is very odd. I'm not saying that the reason they gave isn't true. I think there may be other reasons behind his departure that haven't been mentioned. Also, I saw a lot of really angry responses from fans where people were saying that they wanted to boycott Enhypen, like not listen to their music anymore because he left. And I don't get the logic behind that personally, because as a fan of them, you should really be a fan of all of them. And the other members don't deserve to suffer because of this decision, so I don't really get that. I hope that both Heeseung and Enhypen, as a now 6-member group, continue to find success in their careers. The next topic that I'm about a million years late for, the K-pop Demon Hunters concert fuck up. This to me is one of the weirdest K-pop stories that I've come across. So basically, there was a K-pop concert in Ireland that was a K-pop cover concert specifically. So it's where K-pop idols would go and sing other songs, so cover songs of other groups. That was the concert. And honestly, I love the idea behind this concert. It sounded like it would be right up my street, but I digress. This is the poster that was designed to promote this concert. Don't get me wrong, I completely understand that you should really look into an event before you go. As an adult, you really should be doing that. However, this poster is hideous in the nicest possible way. This poster is so bad. I'm not sure who designed this, but I think that it is an atrocity, quite frankly. I think it's made with AI. It looks like it's made with AI. Not a great start. The fact it's designed in this way, at first glance, I can see why people thought that this concert was going to be a K-pop Demon Hunters concert, because the style of the poster matches up with K-pop Demon Hunters. So I can understand at first glance why people would look at this poster and think, a K-pop Demon Hunters concert, that would be fun, let's go to that. Again, I do think that people should have read the small print, but I can understand how, if you only looked at the poster, you would have thought that this was a K-pop Demon Hunters concert.
Right, where do we start? It wasn't advertised as K-pop Demon Hunters, so you can't expect it to just be K-pop Demon Hunters whenever it is K-pop themed, which is a genre of music. And if you didn't know that's a genre of music, like, just from that film, that's, like, where have you been? TikTok is filled with K-pop.
Yeah, you really should, as an adult, I think, be researching a little bit into what you're actually buying tickets for, especially if you are taking your children. I don't know, just a thought. People began walking out of the concert because, well, it wasn't what they expected, basically. It was not K-pop Demon Hunters, and for a lot of parents, it was not child appropriate. If in these screen recordings, you can see that little thing that keeps popping up and saying, like, you have 10 minutes left and stuff, that's because I installed an app that is supposed to stop my chronic doom scrolling. So yeah, please just ignore that.
Wait, this isn't K-pop Demon Hunters? Parents and their children went to a K-pop tribute event in Belfast and were hit with a sudden realization. K-pop is more than this movie. Some parents were complaining that some parts were raunchy and inappropriate, while also noting the lack of K-pop Demon Hunters content. Could you tell me, if you saw this poster, what would you expect?
See, that is the thing. I do think that poster is absolutely atrocious and should have been put in the bin, quite frankly. But, you know, it is what it is. I really think that they could have done a better job on the marketing for the concert. But I do stand 10 toes down on my opinion that the adults still should have been adulting a little bit better and actually researching into the concert before taking their children to it. That's just my thoughts though. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Just at the end here, I wanted to briefly touch upon the 21 drama because they are a legendary K-pop group and they quite literally defined second generation K-pop, so there's a lot of love for this group. So Park Bom had previously taken breaks due to her health, and then she dropped this post on social media, which is pretty much the equivalent of dropping an atomic bomb on the K-pop community.
On March 3rd, she posted a bombshell letter that has effectively declared war on YG, her previous agency, and her former bandmates. Mom is speaking out about her 2010 Adderall controversy. She was slammed for importing the medication across borders, which she's always maintained was for her ADD. Now she's claiming, quote, Sandara Park was caught for rug abuse, and to cover that up, they turned my medication into a scandal. But she didn't just stop there. She literally named names, telling YG, Teddy, and even CL to stop reporting her to the authorities. Sources close to the singer immediately told the press that she was mentally unstable and asked for understanding. As for Sandara Park, who is being accused, she herself posted a direct response to all of this, saying, I have never used drugs, I wish her well. Fans also immediately noticed that Sandara unfollowed Park Bom on Instagram while still following members CL and Minzy. Many are asking if this is a long-hidden truth finally come to light, or is this a heartbreaking health crisis being played out in the public?
So she basically dropped a bombshell that she had been used as a scapegoat to cover up the other members' drug abuse, and she in fact was not a drug abuser, it was her bandmate. And as a result, obviously, the two have had a bit of a falling out as Sandara Park no longer follows Park Bom on IG. So clearly, I mean, rightfully so, if someone accuses you of such a big scandal, you're probably not gonna, you know, be buddy-buddy with that person anymore. The Korean translation is actually kind of harsh sounding. It was more of like putting distance between them and referring to her as like more of an acquaintance. So that's kind of interesting. And her obviously unfollowing her in itself is a pretty big statement, I would say. Whether it's true or not, it's clear that it's had a massive impact on the relationship between the two members, which understandably the fans are pretty upset about. I have seen a lot of people saying that they believe she's mentally unwell and just made this statement out of spite. But I have also seen people supporting Park Bom and saying that they believe her. But what is clear is that it has had, understandably, quite a negative impact on the relationship between the two bandmates and will probably have quite a large impact on the group's dynamic as a whole because of this. But I'm interested in what you think, as always, so please let me know your thoughts on any of the topics that we discussed today in the comments below, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye guys!